I'd like to bring in Dr. Akande on this one. It looks like a multi-dimensional challenge we're battling right now. It's not something that happened on us. But the good thing is you have, let's say, private sector, a corporate approach with global practices also in the mix. What is your diagnosis of what is going on right now? And we'll get to the treatment as well. But first, the diagnosis, Dr. Akande.
Thank you very much for having me this morning. Some of the points have been rightly responded to by the guests in your studio over there. And you're right, it's not just one problem. There are diverse issues that have been, and it's not just now. I think that is one thing we have to put in perspective. It might be a case that it has exacerbated now, but these are been happening for quite some times. He's mentioned the issue of seasonality of tomato production in Nigeria, and you said he's speaking to solution to some of this problem, as it were. Tomato doesn't have to be a seasonal crop. There are ways where we can ensure that we grow tomato all year and in this country. So that is number one. The second thing is that we all know that tomato is a very perishable material. While we, as a Nigeria, we stand as number two, highest producer of tomato in Africa after Egypt. But in reality, over close to 50% of what we are producing are mostly lost through post-harvest. There is also a way around that. If you are losing 50% of what you are producing, to me, it doesn't show that you are doing something right. And this has been happening over a long period of time. It's not just now. I think he also touched on the aspect of the climate change problem, and that is factual. That has been impacting on our production, the time of production, the time of harvest, and what have you. And that is also has solution as well. You mentioned the issue of the outbreak of pest disease. There's also a solution to that as well. Chemicals are available that will be used, on the farm to create a solution for that particular problem. But I'd also like to mention the aspect of the cost of production also. And I think that is one thing that might probably have been a bit different from what we've been experiencing in the past. The cost of production of tomato, as it is with many other crops in this part of the world, has gone astronomically high. Most of what we use in producing this tomato and other crops in Nigeria are not necessarily manufactured within the country. And we all know what the issue of exchange and things like that. What it is now. So, for example, the chemical you use, the fertilizer you use, even the cost of transportation based on what is happening in terms of high increase in the gas and petrols that we all use. So these all impact on why we are having this kind of a high cost. Tractorization of the field, what you use in preparing your field, is no longer as cheap as it used to be. So all these factors, combined together are critical factors that needs to be looked into. More so, demand, for these particular crops and food generally globally is increasing. So what system you have been adopting in the years past, to produce for 20 million, 50 million, or 70 million people, you need to look into that kind of a food system, and see whether that food system is still applicable, for a nation that is growing to have over 200 million now. Talking about the issue of intensive and extensive agriculture, as it were. So all this combined together are critical factors, that are affecting the production of crops generally and tomato particularly as it relates to our discussion this morning.
Dr. Akande, I would like you to speak to a few issues that you've raised. One is, did this come as a surprise? I'm very deliberate with that question, because if it's not a surprise, I believe that maybe something should have been done vis-a-vis the issue of preservation of the product, because of the level of demand we've seen that has further pushed up the price. So what is being done? You said about 50% is lost. We want to know how we can close that gap as much as possible. So the first question is this a surprise? What can be done to close that gap in terms of preservation so that we don't have this dirt?
doesn't come as a surprise. And if we do further research, we will see that almost annually this problem comes up. It might not be as bad as this. 2017, 2016 data, 2000. I mean, you will see similar trend, that is happening in tomato production and tomato cultivation within the country. So I think for me, the first thing is that we need to take the issue of agriculture and food security and food system very seriously in our country. We said quite a lot about it, but then the action that are taken around it, to me, we need to do more. If I have to be conservative with my response, we need to do more. I mean, we can't be seeing the amount of the, and I think this is what I didn't mention earlier, the farmers incessant attack or by others on their farm, and then we expect rocket science. The 52 states where tomato are planted, are mostly in the north, even though we have some that will be done in the southern part of Nigeria, as has been mentioned. But most of these states are the ones that have been ravaged by attacks. The issue between the herders and farmers. You're talking about your Kaduna, which is the highest producing tomato state in Nigeria. States like Plateau, Benue, are already ravaged, and farmers are no longer on the field. Even if they are producing, they can't produce maximally, optimally as expected. So this is the critical issue. They are not issues that we trivialize, and we need to start looking into this, and how government will ensure that. If our food system continues to be attacked in this manner, it speaks to even the security of lives, within this this space. But the second thing, as well, as you have mentioned, also is that, like I said, it's not a surprise. We know, but it's been there. The record is there. The fact is there. The data is there. That we've been losing close to 45% of this tomato production in Nigeria over years. What have we done, as a nation, to support the processing of tomato to not just a puree, plum? I spent a very good part of my life in England, and I know that the only time that I actually buy fresh tomato in England is probably when I want to fry egg or something. But in terms of using tomato for stew, you only buy tomato plums that have already been preserved for a very long period of time. I think it's the high time for us as a nation to see how we can incentivize private investors, into ensuring that they are moving our tomato from the time that we have those bumper harvests to more of a plum that has been preserved. It's not just puree that I'm making reference to. I know one or two companies that was already engaging in puree here. But I'm talking about plum, that you can use, as a product in food production. The second thing that the top thing that I will be looking at beyond the issue of ensuring that we look at the architecture and food system within the country, looking at the aspect of supporting companies to move the product from just a perishable product to that is being preserved. And the third one will be that we need to encourage increase of the use of the greenhouses, across the whole of the country. I mentioned earlier that tomato will be planted all year greenhouse be used. It's not going to be a substitute for open field, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying that it will help to increase our production and will help us to reduce this seasonality of tomato production in the country. Currently, if I'm right, I think the tariff that is being paid by those that are bringing in some imported greenhouses in Nigeria is killing. Materials that are being used to produce the greenhouses it's issue. So.
Just a minute, Dr. Akande. As quickly as possible, Dr. Akande joins us via Zoom, and just a quick wrap-up to hedge against what is going on across the country. Maybe in 30 seconds, so that we don't come back here next year to have this conversation. What should we be doing going forward? 30 seconds, we're totally out of time, sir.
Oh, okay, sir. Same as far as it concerns tomato. There are too many loose ends that we can pull together to ensure that we are not where we are again. There are solutions to most of these issues. We just need to pull ourselves together at the federal level or at the state level and develop a right framework that is implementable and that will support farmers on the field, security issues and what have you, bringing in new technology and innovations, and ensuring that most of the international research institutes and local ones that we have are being assessed for solutions to some of this problem. That would be my own parting word. Thank you very much.
But Dr. Akande, quickly, is this an opening for GMO? I know it's been a debate. Is this an opening for GMO?
Well, for me, I think I'm not so sure whether we are ready for that as a country, and I wouldn't advise that is where we should be going. The one we have currently, what are we doing about it? I mean, talk less of saying that we should be moving to GM. Are we really working hard towards, ensuring the productivity of the one that we have, as it is? Thank you very much.
All right. That's if it's not upon us already. But we want to thank you very much, gentlemen. We've had Dr. Debo Akande, Director, International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, responsible for private sector engagement, also Executive Advisor on Agribusiness to the Oyo State Governor. Thank you so much for being on the program.